having almost gotten Dead God, having almost gotten Dead God, I feel like I am compelled to finally be able to make a tier list of some sort of Repentance characters. Now, I'm thinking you got to do two different tier lists. One is all characters in Repentance. By the way, we'll say thank you to user Legit Kamas for making this, as you can see down there. A tier list of Repentance characters by strength, but also after that, in a separate video, a tier list of Repentance characters by fun. The first thing that we're going to do here is rework the tiers. I don't know how this... I mean, it's just one of those things where when you have so many tiers, it's like that's not that's a ranking, not a tier. So I'm just... if you'll give me a second here, I'm just taking the opportunity to delete a few rows. Personally, I think I'm a 5-row sort of guy. I think 5 rows is perfect. Then if we open this back up, decent, bad, really bad, horrible, have not tried this character. I think this is how most people who play this game for a living would rank the characters, is that the best character is decent. But I'm a more positive and optimistic individual than that, quite frankly. So, you know, I don't know if you can see this too well. What? We'll call this one top tier. Well, that's like... What's the strongest person? We would probably look at the strongest person on Earth. This is the Mountain. And then the weakest person on Earth, I was going to say Mouth, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to say Captain America pre-Super Serum. Hey, Kratom Khan, thank you for the gifted subscriptions, by the way. Then horrible. So this is like pretty bad. We can call this like light cream cheese product. You know, when you buy cream cheese, but it ends up not being cream cheese. It's like a cream cheese substitute or something like that. And then in the middle, you know what we call that? Ham sandwich. That's like, it's a lunch nobody's ever going to be disappointed to see. Then we got bad, which is actually going to be good. I know that's twisted up. What would I say is good? I mean, this is easy. Good is pub nachos. Okay. And we'll make that orange tier for the melted cheese. Okay. So it's easy enough, right? The worst character is Captain America pre-Super Serum. Light cream cheese product, ham sandwich, pub nachos, the Mountain. It's just that you can figure it out for yourself. Okay. Here we go. We're finally getting started. Step 1, Isaac. Remember, this is in terms of strength, not how fun to play. This is in terms of their strength. Isaac, and I have a feeling we're going to end up maybe altering these as time goes on, okay? Isaac, pub nachos tier, in my opinion. He's pub nachos or ham sandwich. Starts with decent stats. Always beautiful to have the D6 to be able to like rework what you get from that first boss room, the first deal with the devil, etc., etc. Certainly not the Mountain tier, but I would say pub nachos. I mean, it's the yardstick by which you measure all other Isaac characters in the game. Magdalene, in terms of strength, it's an easy ham sandwich in my world. Starting with 4 HP is nice early on. Yumhart is great sustain. I actually feel like Maggie is better in Repentance as well, because Eddie rooms have that much more value, in my opinion. I did have a Maggie run today where I got to do a couple of Eddie rooms all the way as a result of having that Yumhart. So I actually think Magdalene's up there. As strong as Isaac, I think they're close. I think they're on the borderline, but not quite there. Now, this might rattle you a little bit. Cain. I think Cain's ham sandwich as well. I've been playing as this guy for 10 years. I don't know what he does. He has an eye patch. Does he start with 1 luck? And he gets not bad pills, but 1 HP down. I'm not sold on the idea that Cain is like an unbelievably great character in the game. It makes pills good, which is a big difference for sure. But I don't necessarily think that Cain really is even as good as Maggie anymore, and certainly not as good as Isaac. He used to be pub nachos tier. Now he's ham sandwich in repentance. That's kind of how I feel. I honestly feel like he might even be light cream cheese product. But keep in mind, we got a lot of characters. I mean, all the original characters in the game are like almost the same. And then all of the like the tainted characters, they run like a huge gamut. So I'm not even. A lot of them are going to end up like in this area right here, and then we're going to get to this space and this space a little later. Judas is a tough one. Okay, Judas starts with amazing damage. Book of Belial's fine, but low HP as well. I again, pub nachos, ham sandwich. In terms of strength, if we're defining strength not just as the ability to deal damage, but also as the ability to survive, I think Judas goes into the pub nachos tier. But it's tough. It's either ham sandwich, top of ham sandwich, or bottom of pub nachos. Survivability low, but if you find like one spirit heart, you will win your run, I think. And usually you find a spirit heart pretty early on. So I'm comfortable with Judas being up there in pub nachos. Blue Baby, that's a light cream cheese product. There's no doubt about that. It's something you don't like to see on your randomizer. I can't think of like a single real positive about being Blue Baby. 3 Spirit Hearts is technically maybe temporarily more survivable than some of the other characters. You are blue. You start with the poop, okay, which is incredible. You know what? That's true, Chad. Getting guaranteed deals is good, but you get guaranteed deals, but you usually can't even take that first deal with the devil. Like look, it's not that it has no impact. I think the material impact is low. You can definitely also get permanent Polaroid invincibility, true. Angel deal meta though, yeah, but it's not like I mean, you could just also get 1 Spirit Heart, alternatively, and then you get like the same impact as having the effect of Blue Baby Spirit Hearts to begin with. I think it's not a good character, not bad. I would say light cream cheese product. Oh, sorry, we got a couple of dishwasher pods are being delivered here. There we go. It's all right. You can leave it out there. They've been stolen before. Life goes on. Eve. This one, I'm sorry, Eddie. I have to take a firm stance. I think Eve's kind of stinky. I think Eve is, well, let's not be unreasonable. Better than Blue Baby, but kind of light cream cheese product here. Eve with Whore of Babylon functioning is ham sandwich. But you pay a heavy cost to get ham sandwich functioning, or to get Whore of Babylon functioning. And it oftentimes happens that you find yourself in a position where you have to choose between doing a little bit of damage, like 2.67 damage by default or whatever, or alternatively, you have to go down to like almost being dead. I'm not sold that Eve is a better character than Judas. Judas, you hold Book of Belial instead of having to hold the razor. I would rather have Book of Belial because it doesn't take your HP in the first place. On top of that, Judas has a damage multiplier and doesn't require any kind of finesse to stay in the damage multiplier context, and could also take deals with the angel without having to jump through the hoops to stay in the Whore of Babylon state. So I'm of the opinion that Eve, honestly, and can I also tell you that I feel like Dead Bird is literally useless. If it weren't for the fact that Eddie said at some point 9 years ago that he loves the mechanic of taking damage to do damage, then I think that people would disrespect Eve a little bit more. But I'm not a believer in Dead Bird doing anything. Anyway, this is my tier list. This is where I stand. Okay. Samson, I think there's no doubt for me, Samson ends up somewhere in the pub nachos tier. It's our tier list. That's where you're wrong. No way. I'm stunned. Firm Sammy tier. Samson's flowchart is like so easy to manifest. I know that this is going to sound like, a forehead commentary. Oh, hello, Jay. By the way, Jay inspired the crossword puzzle we're going to do a little later. I saw him doing crosswords last night, and I thought it was a great idea. How does the Samson flowchart work in forehead context? It's very simple. Get 5 cents on the first floor. Inspired, so you stole from me? Okay, someone time out Jay. Don't actually do it. It's a joke, but he's getting too close to the truth. He can't be allowed to chat. 5 cents on the first floor. Spawn an arcade on the next floor. You play the blood bank, and as soon as you get an arcade, you've already won. You haven't won the run, but you won the floor. Because either you're getting a temporary incredible damage bonus, the purchasing power to get something useful from your shop, and the opportunity to maybe get a blood bag for a speed and HP increase, or alternatively, you're getting an IV bag, which gives you an endless ability to recreate damage bonuses on every single subsequent floor. On top of that, red hearts are like the easiest thing to drop. They drop constantly, and that makes Samson an easy character to play as, a lot of fun. You were arguing the opposite for Eve? Yeah, because Eve is stinky. I do, like, taking damage to do damage, I'll admit. That is something about Eve where I think, like, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. But the value of pressing the space bar with an IV bag, or alternatively, from taking damage from a blood bank, also gives you the money that you can use to purchase things that will accelerate your run from that point onwards. Also, on top of that, if you pick up red hearts as Samson, you don't lose the damage bonus that you got as Eve. Or that you got from Samson's rage, bloody lust. Whereas as Eve, when you use the razor, you only get a damage bonus for a room. And if you accidentally pick up a red heart at some point, you've ruined Whore Babylon, might need to use the razor again. Samson, better than Eve. I would be willing to put this to the test in the scientific literature. I bet Samson has a statistically significant higher win rate than Eve. Full stop. Azazel is not even close. This is like Azazel's the mountain. If we're just talking about how strong they are as a character, how easy they are to win, I don't even think there's a point to be made about debating this. Like, this is gun to your head, one character, you have to win the run or the mafia will kill you. I don't know why this is always my yardstick for stuff like this. This is, you're either, in my opinion, you're either taking Azazel, maybe Tainted Lilith. You could play the Lost if you want to be a gangster. Tony Baloney needs to see his Isaac win. Tainted Cain, maybe. I don't know. I guess Tainted Cain is kind of unlosable for the most part, but I don't know. I wouldn't trust myself. Gun to my head, I think I'm going down. I can't believe this is happening in my hometown. If I had 6 keys, 1 coin, and a red heart, then I'd contemplate. I'd pop it in the secret room and get a portable slot. Then I'd get another portable slot, and I'd use it again. Put the bone heart in the bag. I don't think I could keep the flowchart going unless I could prepare. If I could possibly prepare in advance and get it stuck in my head, then maybe. But Lazarus. I actually like playing as Lazarus more than Eve or Blue Baby, but it's like cream cheese. The reason I enjoy Lazarus is because at least you get the chance to have an impact on your run in the early floors by killing yourself to come back with a damage multiplier and a little bit of luck. But apart from that, there's like no benefit whatsoever. Like I again can't really think of a compelling reason for why you would want to play as this character if you had the choice. But at least you get something to do early, At least there's some characters where it's just like I'm just waiting for an item to show up. As Lazarus, at least you're like early. I can do things. Eden. I gotta be honest. I haven't done a regular Eden run in forever, but Eden's pub nachos, man. And it's hard for me to separate strength from fun for Eden, But I feel like Eden on average is better than average, which is a sentence that should not make sense. But, well, it's tough because I'm like, okay, let's just go over what Eden actually does, okay? You start with a random spacebar item. You start with a random passive item, and you start with random stats. So my hypothesis, and this might not be true, my hypothesis is that a random passive tends to be better than any passive that tends to be, on average, better than passives that other characters start with. I think the random passive is a mark towards pub nachos. The random active, I think, could go either way. I think it's a wash. Obviously, you could get mega, you could get kamikaze, and so on and so forth. So I think that's like a neutral. That's a ham sandwich point. The stats are worse, usually. And I know that seems like it shouldn't make sense, but having done like 3 years straight of Eden streaks, I feel like you fairly consistently get, as bizarre as it sounds, the average Eden run has worse stats than the average other character run. So, and you know what? I think that's a point towards light cream cheese. So if that's the case, if we got one pub nachos, one ham sandwich, one light cream cheese, let's put you in ham sandwich tier. Now, obviously, you could easily get a mountain run. You oftentimes will get a Captain America pre-super serum run, but so be it. Again, keep in mind, we're talking about strength, which makes the Lost quite difficult as well. We'll do our fun tier list later, and this will be up here. As much as I hate to say it, I feel like if we're looking at the odds of winning a run, right, with these characters, I feel like the Lost is low ham sandwich, high light cream cheese. They're pretty strong, honestly. You get Holy Mantle, you get free Devil Deals, you can fly, you got Spectral Tears, which is not worth that much, but if you're asking me, like, who do I have the lowest win rate, like, out of any of the characters on this list so far, I honestly think it might be Blue Baby. For real, but I think that, Lost with Holy Mantle is probably a lower win rate than Eve or Lazarus. So, I mean, don't be mad. I love playing as the Lost. They're going to benefit a lot from the fun tier list, but I think in terms of strength, I think Chad is heavily overrating the strength of this right now. No question. I trust my own judgment on this one. A lot of other things I default to Chad's wisdom because, how could 5,000 people be wrong about something? On this one, I'm like, hey, how could 4,000 hours be wrong? Yeah, regular Lost doesn't even get only good items. Perfection is a great buff. Don't get me wrong. But you know what else would be like a great buff? How about the ability to hold some red hearts so that if you get hit twice on the same room, you don't die in spite of how strong your run is. That's my take on that. As good as perfection is, how about having a way to not reliably die if you get hit twice? Okay, regular Lilith. People aren't going to be happy about this one. Pre-repentance, Captain America pre-super serum. Post-repentance, and I don't believe anything has changed for Lilith. Post-repentance, with the addition of so many terrible characters, Lilith is maybe right about here for me. Light cream cheese product. Lilith greed mode is pogged. Yeah, but I'm like a normal person with a college degree, so I don't play greed mode after I get the post-it notes checkmarked. I play the the part of the game that's actually fun and enjoyable. Now, sorry, plus two. I don't know. Like, I just feel like with Lilith, it's just this is admittedly is combination fun and strength concern. Okay, the thing is, starting with Incubus is just kind of like annoying. It's a pain in the butt because it just changes the muscle memory for aiming. Like that's the main problem. Lilith also very sick for long boss fights if you can get multiple charges, and Cain being Conception can be helpful for sure. There's no doubt about that. That being said, I don't know. I just don't find them nice to play, quite frankly. I don't find them fun to play, and I tend to because they start maybe a little weak. I tend to kind of spiral with them. I think more than anybody else, but. I would rather be the Lost. If I had to win, would I rather be the Lost or Lilith? All right, you got me on that one. Maybe I would. Sorry, maybe I would be like right around there. We're not fusing. Okay. This feels right to me right now. Keeper. Okay, now I have to remember. It's been a while. New Keeper is 3 HP. 3 HP. Deals with the devil, costs money. Coins do not drop from every enemy you kill. Yes, okay, we got it. Still bad. But I agree with people are saying like 3 HP is a lot better than 2. Like it's not 1.5 times better. It's like 5 times better. But I think, you know, again, if we're talking about strength, they would have been pre-super serum before, probably the hardest character. Now, I mean, I would put them up here like it's probably even a little bit easier. Well, I don't know. They're somewhere in this area, I think. Tainted Keeper is a dream come true. Regular Keeper, much better, much more fun, and much stronger, quite frankly, than they used to be. But still tough. Still a tough character. Apollyon. Apollyon is void, 2 HP. I feel like I tend to stink with Apollyon as well. Feel like I tend to have a bad time with Apollyon. But I would say mid, and this is, again, not just... fun shouldn't factor into it, but when you got a smile on your face, I feel like you play better. And I always have a bias towards characters where you can have an impact, you know, with your own actions. Like, you know, Maggie, Cain, you're pretty much just... they're fun, but you're pretty much just along for the ride, right? Like, you're just like, whatever I get, I get. Apollyon, Lazarus, at least you got the ability to do, like, you know, to have an impact, to steer it a little bit. But definitely, I can't see them over ham sandwich. You know what the problem is? Is that, like, these are just... there's too many stats that are useless, is really what it comes down to. Oh, hello, Cobalt. I'm interested to see how your opinions differ with mine here. Like, speed... important for a bit. Tears, very important. Damage, very important. Range, relatively unimportant, and you can tell that that's true because in the time that I'm building this bit right here, people are going to be like, range unimportant, lol. What if you get number 1? Yeah, what if you get, you know, like one of, you know, the only, you know, it's like one item out of 700 or something that are in the game. It happens very, very rarely. And usually, you'll get enough range to begin with from other items ambiently. Secondarily, you also have shot speed, which is effectively just range. Like, there's 2 different... Cobalt, we're not talking about greedier mode, okay? Earlier, I said... I made a joke at Lilith's expense where I said I'm an average individual with a college degree. As a result, I don't play greedier mode. But anyway, Apollyon... I think mid-tier. If there were less stats that do nothing, cough, your luck stat, except for, you know, having Ghost Pepper, Tough Love, or being on the chest. Cough, shot speed, cough, range, cough, speed over 1.2, you know, et cetera, then this could be a little higher. But I think ham sandwich is fair. Now, Forgotten, I gotta be honest, I think Forgotten is mountain tier. And I think that this might, a lot of people, doubtlessly they're above ham sandwich. It's really a question of mountain or pub nachos. I think the Forgotten is close to a free win. I love high damage melee. You essentially get kind of free deals with the devil. You have a lot of the effects that like make the Lost half decent, like being able to fly, for example. I would put the Forgotten up in terms of strength with any character. Lots of cool synergies too. Now this is admittedly I'm talking more about the fun side. We'll get to that later, but yeah, Cobalt. I would put the Forgotten over Isaac. I think if you took 100,000 Dead God caliber Isaac players and then had them do 1,000 runs each as both characters, I think that the Forgotten would have a higher win rate than Isaac. I do. This is just strength. This is not fun. This is just strength. Okay, Bethany. Now, I got to think about this for a moment. Hold on. Bethany starts with Book of Virtues. How much HP does Bethany start with? Do I have my phone on me? Let me go to the Isaac wiki. Bethany Repentance. I'm looking. Okay. Tears plus 0. That seems bad. Damage 3.5. Speed 1. Starting items 4 soul charges. Right? That's okay. And then Book of Virtues. She starts with 3 heart containers, 4 soul charges, Book of Virtues. Well, 3. So basically, she has Isaac's starting stats more or less. Plus Book of Virtues minus the D6. I mean, the Book of Virtues, high variance, don't get me wrong. Oh, yeah, your first deal is a deal with the angel, too. You know what? I think that might be enough. Because I was going to say there's a chance she's high ham sandwich. But I might say low pub nachos. The other thing that's kind of cool is, like, Book of Virtues is actually one of my favorite repentance items. Because it pairs with other items. I don't really care about like wisps being stronger or weaker, but the fact that you get an effect from the item and then also a wisp every time you use it is sick. That's true. You can't pick up soul hearts. Yeah, we haven't played regular Bethany in forever. It's been a long time. And this is more on the fun side, right? Like this it makes you respect spacebar items that previously were like unrespectable. Or more or less useless. In terms of strength, I'm gonna take a stand here that like IMO. I'm gonna say Bethany's high ham sandwich. High ham sandwich, low pub nachos. Book of Virtues is very good. Starting stats, very good. No spirit hearts. You do get the wisps blocking shots for you, but no spirit hearts is kind of bad. I'm comfortable with this, honestly. I'm comfortable with this. Jacob and Esau. Oh, man, we're almost at the Tainted characters. Oh, man. Okay, Jacob and Esau, Captain America pre-Super Serum. I like playing as them, but only because they're bad, basically. I don't think that Jacob and Esau need a buff. Quite frankly, I think that it's okay that they suck, but they do suck. I'm not going to deny that. Let me count the ways. Okay, the real reason they suck, because I think people they're very guilty of like thinking sometimes that Isaac is like an incremental game where they're like, well, you get double the damage. Well, kind of. You don't really get double the damage. You would get double the damage if every item applied to both characters. But really, you just start with double damage. And then everything that you get is essentially, I don't want to say it's half as useful, but it's not as good as if it applied universally. Also, dodging is impossible. And I mean that in the literal sense. Sometimes dodging is merely very, very hard. But there are also sometimes where like it's essentially objective to be able to have both characters dodge the shots. There are, and these are some of the reasons I like playing Jacob and Esau. I like having an incentive to go to the alt floor and pick up 2 items. But, I mean, like now we're getting into Isaac Philosophy 101. Not all item pedestals are worth an item. You know, there's some item pedestals in the game are worth 50 items, and some item pedestals in the game are worth less than 0. But for the most part, like a lot of so every once in a while, you'll pick up 2 good things and be very happy. But a lot of the time, it's you know, you're like, oh, I got the item I really wanted that has a material impact on my run, and I got black bean, which is basically useless. So I think that it's a very limited get. Very cool though with there's options. Very cool with there's options. Still bad though. I agree that I think they're kind of gonna suck forever. I think they're pretty much gonna always be terrible, but at least there's some fun to it. You know, they're bad, but I have a smile on my face sometimes when I play them. Okay, Tainted Isaac. Now we're getting into some characters I've not played as much as I would like, or maybe more than I would like. Now that I think about it. Let me remember. Okay, Tainted Isaac, you can only hold 8 items, 12 with Birthright, but you get the Soul of Isaac on every pedestal, right? So it goes yup. And that's it, right? Like that's the only we pretty much got it at that point. HP stays behind too. That's true. Yeah, like if you pick up HP, you get to keep it, which is nice. I'm very surprised at how many people are like, this is like the mountain tier. Admittedly, I've probably only played as Tainted Isaac like 6 times, right? Something like that. I always felt like Tainted Isaac was like ham sandwich. You can get 8 great items. If you get Birthright, you get 12 items, yeah. But I mean, as of right now, I'm like high ham sandwich tier. Having that kind of item selection, I think, is really valuable, but the limitation also sucks. I mean, 8 good. I did just say as Jacob and Esau, like all the value of item rooms is essentially represented by like 1/10 of the items in the game. So being able to select for good ones is really good. At the same time, like it can take you a while still to get to 8 great items. I mean, if gun to my head, I'm thinking, okay? Gun to my head, I have to look at my North Star, okay? You can play either Tainted Isaac or Judas. If you win a run, you live. With that logic applied, I don't see how I would much rather be Tainted Isaac. I think that's fair enough. Here's it for me. Honestly, if you took away the fact that HP stays, we'd be like down here. But the fact that you can basically take HP, store it, and then turn it into another item later, I guess, I would put you up there. Fair enough. Tainted Maggie. You're gonna hate me for this one. Tainted Maggie, played her very recently. High ham sandwich. Very, 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 very good for melee. No question. Melee damage is out of control. You can't always, you don't always want to melee. You got enemies that have creep, you have enemies that explode, etc., etc. Her tiers suck really badly. And I think you can very easily get to a situation like there's a little like a drain, like Final Destination style, like on the jacuzzi, that pulls you down. I guess I would rather. No, I'm happy with this placement. Like if you get low on HP to the point where you can't do melee without losing your devil deal, like that's where life starts to be painful. So I'm a believer that they're an above average character. I'm not a believer that they're pub nachos. Let me put it that way. Also bad, yeah, like bosses with a lot of HP. Oh man, so annoying. Tainted Cain, I hate to say it, but wait, let's just move on. Okay? Tainted Cain is mountain tier. I don't like playing as them at all. And yes, I know, before you type your essay, I know it's you don't like playing as them because you only do it to get the exact same items every time. What you should do instead is arbitrarily choose not to take the strongest items in the game and instead just wing it. But don't wing it. You got to look up the recipes, because if you just wing it, you're exclusively going to get bad items. But look up the recipes, but don't look up the recipes for rock bottom and kidney stone and number one and et cetera, and red stew. You got to look up different recipes. You get the idea. It's like there's no right way to play this character. In the eyes of universal, gen pop. That being said, if we're looking at it in the most literal sense, can you make Tainted Cain unlosable? Yeah, essentially. I mean, we proved it. Using VIP Daniel will remain a VIP for life, or until they do something to get themselves canceled. So be on your best behavior, Daniel. That being said, as long as you follow the recipes, you can't be stopped. It's so easy to make an early portable slot. It's so easy to make a second portable slot. And from that point onwards, it's over. That's it. We're watching you, Daniel. With great power comes great responsibility. We beat everything on the Post-it note. If you take out Greedier, which was also first, or on our first run, once we learned the pattern. But we turned that Post-it note inside out in 3 runs. Why would you make a second portable slot? The second portable slot gives you a Bone Heart, which allows you to make Rock Bottom. And once you make Rock Bottom, the run is over. Anyway. Judas. Dark Judas. Now, I got to remember here, okay, Dark Judas has the blue baby effect. You can't get red hearts. You also have dark arts, which is very good. You get to go to curse rooms for free. If I'm being honest, top of pub nachos. I saw a lot of people in chat saying things like mountain tier. I might underrate dark arts a little bit. I do think it's one of those things where I'm I think people are if you use dark arts to run into the bullets, then you get such an incredible damage upgrade. And I'm yeah, but sometimes running into the bullets with dark arts, if your invincibility timer is just slightly misaligned, I'm not sure it's the juice is worth the squeeze, man. It's always worth it. It's a top tier defensive item against bullet hell bosses. But when people are oh, if you literally just use it optimally at all times, then you can get this to happen. And I'm dude, you're not I see you making typos. You're going to tell me you play Dark Judas optimally 100% of the time? I don't believe it. Anyway, I stand by this. Very strong character. I think the Forgotten is stronger than Dark Judas. I would go to bat for that. I'm being very sincere. I might be wrong, but I'm going to bat for it for sure. If you had to bet your life on Isaac or Tainted Judas, who would it be? Right now, it would be Isaac. So you know what? It's a good question. They won't let me. I would definitely bet on Isaac, I think. Might just be because I'm a little bit more comfortable with them. But Tainted Judas or Samson? I mean, I'm going to be honest with this. I would probably still bet on Samson. I might bet on Tainted Judas over Tainted Isaac, though. Anyway, Forgotten over Tainted Cain. Okay, well this one, I mean, look, this is the logical outcome there. I'm not even worried about these, but these we gotta get going. Tainted Blue Baby, bottom light cream cheese product. Top Captain America pre-super serum. Again, is one of those things where I'm like, I feel like they would be Captain America pre-super serum if there weren't characters in the game that were literally just like borderline unplayable. So I would say they're in the light cream cheese product tier. He's just like, I get that he's weak and we're supposed to be talking about strength, but he's also like so annoying. Like, I know that's... I think it's just one of those things where, like, fun factors into the strength of the character. Because when you're going to have bad attitude and you're grumpy about it, you're going to play worse. I don't even know... Like, I have no justification for this, except that not having bombs and instead being beholden to, like, these... weird bomb effects that you get instead via the poop are annoying as hell. And I know, yeah. Well, if you just make the poop creep and you stand in it, you get a plus a 1.2 damage bonus. Yeah, it's great as long as the enemy never shoots where you're standing, which happens fucking 0% of the time. Then yeah, that's great. You can get a serious damage buff from standing still and taking a bunch of damage like a fool. And yeah, as long as you always pay attention to the fact that there's like some gas in the air and then you don't hit E when you're close to the gas because it'll make you explode, then, you know, it's fantastic. Bad. Tainted Eve. I mean, you're gonna make me make some regrets, okay? Somewhere around the middle of light cream cheese product. Can be very good. Can make a good run, as can almost every character in here. This is again from strength, not just from frustration. Something that I find happens now and then with Tainted Eve is I'll get like a charge shot that takes longer to charge than it does to hit the level of spawning a wisp, which is, it creates a situation that is both annoying, but annoying in a way that makes her weak as well, in my opinion. Because you gotta like, okay, make a lump, lose HP, Sumptorium, lump, lose HP, Sumptorium, lump, lose HP, Sumptorium, etc., etc. And I also feel like her default rate of fire is trash, right? Like her default rate of fire is pure garbage. Like, hold on, I'm on the wiki right now. Tainted Eve. No, not Tainted Isaac. Tainted Eve. Default rate of fire 1.2. It's terrible. I'm not saying you can't make a beautiful run here, don't get me wrong, but I think that the default starting stats are really bad. And again, it's one of those characters where I apologize for this. There's a few people for whom this doesn't apply, Cobalt, for example. But when people say things like just never use Sumptorium, I'm like, I bet you lose all the damn time. Like, I bet you're out here like, oh, this character's so strong. They're so strong. Oh, I lost. I'll restart. There's no scrutiny of my play whatsoever, so it really doesn't matter. I think there's situations where you've got like a negative 15 streak, and you're like, but they're so good, you know? I believe, I feel for me. Tainted Eve, gun to my head, down here in the light cream cheese product tier, without a doubt. Okay, Samson. It's got to be Pub Nachos. I'm trying to remember the effect of Tainted Samson. He has Berserk. Berserk, very good. Unbelievable damage, sustains itself. Can allow you to die and then come back to life, which is pretty low, or pretty low value, but in some situations could save you, I guess. He's you when someone mentions Tainted Cain. Ain't that the truth? I also have to say, in my opinion, I'm not saying that Tainted Samson is necessarily stronger than Tainted Judas, but Berserk is a lot easier to use than Dark Arts because it just activates. I mean, that makes it a little bit less useful, I suppose, but you know, whenever I get Dark Arts, I'm always like, oh, I got to be careful because I don't want the invincibility to dissipate when I'm in the middle of like a bunch of tiers. Whereas when I have Berserk, I just like walk up to the enemy and just like, and then you hear dunk, 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 and then you're like, okay, I'm backing up. That was me mashing the arrow key to just smack over and over. But I think I got nothing against Tainted Samson. I would put him. I'm going to say low pub nachos. I definitely would say, I'm going to say below Tainted Isaac, but above regular Judas. Real quick, did you get the package from UPS? There was a knock. There is a box outside right now, Kate. Would you like me to go bring it in? I'm just wondering because there were like 9 question marks associated with it, which makes me think that it's probably for the best to take it in. Rather than wait, I'm just going to go bring it in because the waiting is the hardest part. Sorry, YouTube. Hello. You know what would be sick? What, Kate, we should get a mail slot. Oh, it's a PS5. Okay. In that case, let me go back out and lay it down nicely instead of standing it up. Okay. Save. Sorry, YouTube. Sorry. You ever think that maybe we should just get like a mail slot? Like, you know how when you used to like return videos at the video store, there'd be like a thing where you could go, gunk, dunk, 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 dunk. I think we should get one of those, where we could just have like a package delivery spot outside, and that way, well, what if someone just stole the whole box? I guess. I guess that's probably it. Just makes it that much more of a honeypot. Anyway, long story short, we're back. Okay, Tainted Azazel. Sneezes. The sneeze does good damage. Hits enemies against the wall. You really think I won't sneeze you up against the wall? Makes enemies take more damage from long-range brimstone. But is not as strong as regular Azazel. I would be inclined to say, in my opinion, maybe the lowest of pub nachos. Maybe ahead of regular Judas. And then to maintain a Gaussian distribution of some sort, we'll do this. Good, don't get me wrong. I mean, we're in the good tier. If you randomed any of these characters, you would be like, this is top tier. No, I would put Tainted Samson up there ahead though, for sure. I like playing as Tainted Azazel. You sneeze on people. So Tainted Eden is possibly both the worst and the least fun character in the game, which is a bit of maybe a hot take. I'd have to think about that one more before I certified it and signed off on it. But really, both bad and also not fun at all. So we're gonna just, I mean, I think it's obvious they end up in the Captain America tier. Sure, could you roll into something amazing? Yeah. And then immediately after that, you could get hit and reroll into something garbage. And the fact, I mean, I think it's bad, like just universally, that you never know what you're doing. When you get hit, you have to like rework your entire strategy immediately, and then you walked into a spike rock and it's all over again. And you don't retain your HP. Very bad. Okay. Tainted lost. Also Captain America tier, for the record. I think, and I know people are going to be like, not for me. Yeah, okay, I bet. I'm good, so I rate the bad characters as if they're great. Yeah, okay, I believe you. Yeah, no, totally. You do get better items. As much as it's a joke, because not all the items you get are always better, you do get a better pool. No question. So I think Tainted Lost does get some value there. It's not as hard as it originally appeared to at least get to a winning run if you're just going for a basic win. You just need a couple of holy cards or a way to recreate them in the future. It happens, but still, like in terms of win rate, pretty on the low side. Fun though, let me say. Fun. I would definitely rather be, like, again, if we're talking gun to my head, I would rather be Jacob and Esau for survival. If we're talking Tainted Lost versus Tainted Eden, I would probably just say pull the trigger. I would say, by all means, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction. Just blow me away. Tainted Lilith, honestly, in my opinion, I was going to say top 2. I think they're in the top 2 strongest characters in the game that I would ever willingly choose. Tainted Cain might be stronger, but that's only showing up in a random, for me at least. Or maybe we'll hit 500,000 concurrent subscribers on Twitch. Unbelievably strong. Super good melee, like insanely high base damage. The damage floor for Tainted Lilith is so high. They're melee, but the melee is at an incredible range, and that's basically it. Like I don't really think there's like anything else you need on top of that. Like the best way for me to explain this is like if you look at XY plane. Tainted Lilith has like one of the highest Y-intercepts in the game. There's no way to guarantee that you're gonna, keep scaling super fast upwards, but you do, like you start with a Y-intercept of like, plus 50. So I think it's not even close. Gun to my head, one of the easiest characters. I'm gonna be straight with you. Tainted Keeper, mid ham sandwich. Much easier than regular Keeper. Whoa, look at that. We put him right here. I think that on rooms, they're close to unkillable. Not that I've never died on it, but it's close to unkillable. On bosses, things get a little spicy. I'm losing my mind at the number of people who are like, nah, he's pub nachos. You really, like, so if I gave you the choice between Tainted Isaac, Tainted Keeper, if you lose, you die, you would be like, doesn't really matter. I don't really have a preference. You wouldn't be like, oh, Tainted Isaac for sure. Where your hands would be like, yo, Eklo, thank you for the gifties. Thank you. No, I'm not switching between strength and difficulty. Strength is I'm using it as a catch-all for like, the odds of winning a run, essentially. Not damage, like I'll be honest. I think in terms of like win rate, Tainted Keeper might even be closing in on light cream cheese. But I think that ham sandwich is fair. I even think I'm giving them like a little bump. Like red hearts are such an unbelievable advantage versus coins. You get a lot of value out of the coins, but red hearts are top tier. By the way, I know people are like, what about the tier list says, judge these characters on how fun it is to play in there. No. You don't get to tell me how to make a tier list just because you're, legit Kamas with 2 followers in the Gravity Falls avatar. I make the runs however I choose, okay? I'm using your tier list for my own values and substituting my own, all right? Tainted Apollyon. High light cream cheese, I think. I don't know. I think this one I might have the highest divergence with chat. What are you insane? They're pub nachos. Bad items mean red flies. Yeah, but the flies are not that good. They're like a mild damage up. That's something. I'm just asking for ham sandwich last offer. I'm asking for some reasoning. He's better than regular Apollyon. Hold on. Now you got me thinking. Yes, I agree. We got Void versus whatever the other one, I forget what the other one's called, Rift or something like that. Why would you want to turn bad passive items into any stat when Abyss? There you go. Why would you want to turn any bad passive into a stat when you could just guarantee it to be a modest damage increase? I think that is a very compelling piece of reasoning. I also feel like Void sucking up spacebar items. Everybody's always like, you get it with the active items, and then, yeah, okay, so you suck up like 7 bad active items, and then once every 6 rooms, you drop a doctor's remote on an enemy that has, 20 times the HP of a doctor's remote damage. So the ability to use Abyss to also create, to turn bad actives into damage, also kind of sick. So you know what, Chet? Look at this. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. We just pulled a Jordan Peele and replaced the original with the tethered. Tainted Forgotten. Okay. Tainted Forgotten. I'm going to be honest. Like, I'm having a hard time separating fun from strength on this character. I think Pub Nachos seems fair to me. I really think they're good. Like, I think they're right around here. I don't know if I'm just a freaking weirdo or something. But I really like Throw in the Skull, and I think it does a lot of damage. You can see my bias at play here, by the way. What is my bias? I don't mind if it's hard to deal damage as long as the damage that's done is extremely good. So I think you can only have Spirit Hearts. Yeah, that is nasty. But on the other hand, unlike Blue Baby or Tainted Blue Baby, they actually do damage easily, which is super nice. And remember, don't get it confused with Hot Potato. Just because you got Hot Potato doesn't, don't hold it against them. Yeah, free curse rooms too. Hey, that's something. Instant backtracking. I love it. Very swag. I like it. Bethany. Tainted Bethany. Leamington is a fun item that is more fun than it is good. What is the other value of Tainted of Tainted Bethany. Let me look at the wiki here. I want to make sure this is as scientific as possible. So basically, Isaac's starting stats. Red Heart's charge Leamington. She starts with 3 soul hearts, 6 blood charges, and Leamington. She's unable to utilize red hearts. But, you know, being unable to utilize red hearts is kind of all right in this case, because red hearts drop and then become HP, or not HP, but charges for your, for Leamington. And then Leamington gives you it gives you a wisp that is from the pool that you use it on. I would say if you play this character with a bare minimum level of strategy, I mean, I didn't want to. I was going to say high pub nachos, but then I just looked at Tainted Bethany plus Isaac, and I was like, I think you gotta like your odds a little bit more as Tainted Bethany. Being able to hit the space bar, like, you know, 5 times inside of your first angel room or something like that, or, you know, it's high value. By the way, the final 2 characters, the easiest characters in my life. Tainted Jacob is Captain America pre-Super Serum, substantially harder to win with than default Jacob and Esau. It's kind of, I don't know about this. Like, are they better than Tainted Lost? I have more fun. On the other hand, I'm kind of like, I'm not sold on the idea that, look, okay, this is a gimme. Tainted Lazarus can basically, you know, sit and spin, as Malf would say. I don't even think they're that bad. I'm too emotional right now to give an honest opinion there. So let's just put these on here and then we'll organize, okay? Of the crap characters here, who's the hardest to win with? I honestly think it's Tainted Lost. As much as I hate to admit it, Tainted Laz, I think, is next. Tainted Jacob, as much, here's what I'll say about this, okay? It's hard, but the first few floors are not that bad because you have a really nice damage bonus, thanks to Tainted Esau. And there are a few items that make it very easy to not have to deal with Tainted Esau. Eraser, all you got to do is have a spider mod built into your prefrontal cortex. Cleaver is also another easy way to do it. They show up, you know, now and then. I think it's probably then Tainted Eden, then regular Jacob and Esau. Okay. Now, in light cream cheese products, I mean, this is like, we got to do so many like one-to-one comparisons. I would say, would I rather be Blue Baby or Tainted Blue Baby from a strength standpoint? Geez, man, I'd probably rather be Tainted Blue Baby. Would I rather be Keeper or Lost? We're doing a bubble sort now. I want to get this done a little faster, but just work with me here, okay? Would I rather be Keeper or Lost? I'd probably rather be Keeper now. And then, like, Eve or Tainted Eve? I would probably rather be regular Eve. Lilith or Lazarus? I hate to say it, I'd rather be Lazarus. And then Apollyon or Lazarus? Probably rather be Apollyon. Okay. I would say Tainted Apollyon, stronger than Eden. Stronger than Cain. Stronger than, well, this is a big move here. Nautilus 291. Thanks for the gifties. Thank you. We're making plays here. Maggie or Tainted Apollyon? I think that's where they stop. I think they stop right here. Bethany or Tainted Maggie? I'm content with this. Judas, right there. Would I rather be tainted Azazel, tainted Samson? I'd rather be tainted Samson. Tainted forgotten, tainted Samson? I'd rather be tainted forgotten. Tainted forgotten or Isaac from the strength from the position of winning a run? I would rather be tainted Isaac. Tainted Isaac or tainted Judas? That's a tough one.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I just want to thank you.
Oh, it's no problem. Now we can play FIFA 22 together. Tainted Isaac or tainted Judas? I think I'd rather be tainted Judas. Tainted Judas or Samson? Okay. Now that tainted Isaac or Samson? Tainted forgotten or Samson? It's you live by the sword, you die by the sword, okay? Tainted forgotten or Samson? Samson or tainted Samson? Samson or tainted Azazel? I think this is where they stay. This is fine. I'm content with this. Regular Isaac or tainted Bethany? Tainted Bethany. For sure. So we've cemented it here. Tainted Bethany or forgotten? That's our list. That's our list right there. Top characters. Tainted Cain, though this is in terms of strength. Just in terms of strength. Tainted Cain, Azazel, tainted Lilith, tainted Bethany, regular forgotten. Pub nachos. Isaac, dark Judas, tainted Isaac, tainted forgotten, tainted Samson, Samson, Azazel. I'm not going to read the rest. You got it. What I am going to say is /marker definitive Isaac tier list.